Okay, after blockchains, this is that was 20. Next is Black Mirror. Black Mirror, I've actually just started getting into. I haven't watched all the seasons, but Black Mirror I find very interesting because it pulls things that are actually happening in today's society and culture and implementing into like a futuristic or kind of far off setting. Like the one episode I talked about earlier, the bees episode. The reason there was um, like AI controlled bees was because bees are dying at an alarming rate, and bees are natural pollinators and we need them in order to have flowers, food, keep every other species alive. And in today's society, bees are dying at an alarming rate. Like there are stories where hives are just dying off and nobody knows what's going on, or like beekeepers, bee transportation, they're killing off bees in the transportation using like awful chemicals from like the trucks they're being transported in, stuff like that. So it I like Black Mirror because it provides a, you know, realness to every episode. So there's a fictionality that's always interesting and like super cool to that episode, but there's always an actual reality placed in that episode with actual meaning. Another one was like the 15 million merits episode, where Daniel Coumier's character basically worked for 15 million merits, gave it to his friend, that was a girl, to sing on the show, and she ended up being a porn star, which was killing to him because he thought she could make it as a celebrity. Um, and he was forced every time in his room to watch the screen. His room was basically four screens and a bed. He literally had to look at the screen, or they said, oh, if you don't look at the screen, it's a penalty of how many ever points. And so he had consistently had to do this over and over and over again. And basically, well, think about it. It was everybody in the world or in that society all had to train and do all this exercise to be pay for the 15 million merits to make it on that show, to then try and make it out as a celebrity, to live an actual life. Um, and then there was people like the Lemons. I don't remember what caused them to be lemons or get that job, but then you could see like the one guy was treating them like trash basically, and was looking down on them, talking to them any way he wanted to, and that's that was like awful. That was tough because Daniel Cumier's character wanted to say anything, but like, what could he do? And then Daniel Cumier's character worked back up. He got another 15 million merits, put in the time to go on the show, and he started out dancing, and then he pulled out a piece of broken glass from his room, which actually I think symbolized the like his four walls, the things that he was caged in. He broke that to try and break free, and then he used that glass to talk about, oh, I'm gonna kill myself. This doesn't make sense. We're literally all just guinea pigs. You guys are basically just deciding the value of our lives and what we do. And then at the end, you see, he's talking about different stuff, the worth of life, all of that. And then at the end, he takes the glass away from his throat and says, and then we'll talk more about this next time or whatever. And you see that he has his own show, and he has a nice house, and realize that he basically tried to break free but ended up selling out to live a good life, which I mean is good and all. It's good that he was taken care of, but he was a sellout basically, and didn't. And he was basically a sellout and didn't want to. Basically, whatever his springboard to get him to that moment, he basically turned his back on and didn't care about anymore. He just focused on um, the money. 21, virtual reality. Virtual reality is pretty interesting. My stepdad had a virtual reality set. Um, and so he had this one where you're in like an insane asylum, and it was pretty cool. You're taken to that reality, and your brain is almost tricked into thinking that you're actually there, that those experiences is what you're experiencing. And that's just a very like minimal level of it. There's many levels of virtual reality. Like VR World is very interesting. It basically a game that there was a console game that I have that I actually played in VR, which was very interesting. It basically put you in that game and you had to control yourself while looking around and stuff like that. So that was pretty cool. Um, and it's just so much out there in virtual reality that isn't discovered yet, that there's so many possibilities that people could do, and all these ideas that they could put together and combine and make a virtual reality setting to where, you know, you don't need a headset. There could be at one point you don't need a headset. You walk into a room and it transforms into this virtual reality with holographs and project mapping and all of that. So virtual reality is interesting and has a lot to. There's a lot that it could cover.